Alright, hopefully it's not too dark. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Comic Book Bob here, and I'm kind of flying solo tonight because it's late. But I just got out a little bit ago from seeing It Chapter 2, and I gotta say I'm kind of let down. I'm let down. The movie's not. It's not as good as the first. It's not as good as the first chapter, and it has a completely different feel to it. I'm not going to say it's terrible. There are some interesting parts in it. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is great in this again. The cast is pretty good. The cast is pretty good. It's just the story is not. It's not quite as interesting this time around. That's one part of it. Another part is it's really long. It's either 3 hours or very close to 3 hours long. It's really, really long. But and the other thing is the humor. I get the humor. I understand the idea behind it, but I feel like the humor breaks the tension, you know, and it just kind of kills the horror films are supposed to build this sense of dread, and this movie never does that. It's got moments in it. It's got some interesting scenes in it with Pennywise when Pennywise makes the illusions that prey on their fears and things like that. But it just doesn't. They just don't hit as hard as they did in the first film. And I don't know if that's because they're just not written as well, or if the first film kind of set our expectations, and when this film a lot of the stuff happens. It's actually the same thing that happened in the first part, which I get because they're the same people. They're just older, and they're only slightly different. But at the same time, it feels kind of stale at times, I guess. There's just nothing in this movie surprised me at all. Well, I shouldn't say that. There was one scene, and it's the scene that we actually see in one of the trailers. I'm not gonna. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's when Bill is in the fun house, and he and Pennywise have this face off. That's an interesting scene, but it just doesn't. There's that sense of dread isn't there, and the humor, I think, is part of the reason why that happens, because there's a lot of humor. That's the thing I was really surprised with this. I expected some humor because Richie, one of the characters, is a comedian, and his defense mechanism is to, be humorous and make smart-ass comments about things. But there was a lot of it. I mean, there was a lot. And I feel like that kind of broke the fear aspect of the movie. There wasn't a lot of tension in this film. There wasn't a lot of dread, and it just didn't feel scary. The things I did like about it, again, as I said, Bill Skarsgård did a great job. The cast was actually pretty good. Bill Hader as Richie, they really lean on him heavy in this movie, and he does a pretty good job. Like I said, as far as like the serious moments that are there with him, he does a good job. it's like I said, it's just the humor, I think, kind of kills the movie. It kills the attempt to build any kind of dread or anything like that. The individual sequences with everybody are okay. This is another example of one of those movies where a lot of the best parts you see in the trailer. The trailer with Beverly when she's in the old lady's the apartment where she used to live and with the old lady, that scene's pretty good. The funhouse mirror scene with Bill and Pennywise is pretty good. Everything else just kind of feels a little, eh. The part of the film with their old nemesis, I think his name is Henry Bowers. I can't remember. It's Henry something. I can't remember. I think his last name is Bowers. But the guy with the knife, the thug with the knife, the guy playing him did a pretty good job of really bringing out the fact that he's crazy at this point. Like he literally lost his mind. I'm trying to think of anything else that really stood out. Some of the effects were pretty. Some of the effects were pretty good. Some of it I really didn't like. Some of it really felt kind of overdone as far as the CG is concerned to me. And that's the problem, is when you have a film like this where the story's not as good as the first half, as the first film, and stuff just kind of, when the story's not as good and the film just isn't as interesting, you see a lot more flaws, a lot more of that stuff kind of pops up. But it wasn't terrible. I'm not angry that I paid to see it. It's just not. It's not that great. You can skip this and wait for it to hit Netflix. Is pretty much where I'm at with this movie. Doesn't have to be seen at the theater. I mean, if you go see it at the theater, I don't think you're going to be angry. You're just not going to be. It's one of those movies where you just watch it and you're like, okay, no, on to the next one. So, if I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10. It's smack dab in the middle, man. It's not terrible. It's not great, but yeah, there it is. That's my first impression of it. So, thanks for being here, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and upload this tonight. If you like this content, please hit like and subscribe. Share this out. It helps the channel grow, and with the algorithm that YouTube's doing, it's making things a little difficult for smaller channels like this. So, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.